of those things can be good, right? Like better habits, better mindset hacks, better routines, but those things rarely change the emotional pattern, right? That tends to be pervasive in someone's life, especially in my line of work when I deal with clients who carry attachment wounds or maybe chronic shame. You can do all those things and still feel stuck, still choose the same unhealthy partners, still feel chronically anxious, right? So the problem is not habits. The problem is not knowledge. It's your nervous system, your attachment system, parts of yourself that were traumatized, that were shaped to survive in some way. If we look at this from a trauma perspective, I would define personal growth as when you start living from choice instead of protection, right? It's essentially how you change the relationship with yourself, the relationship with your emotions, and the relationships with other people. That happens at an emotional and at a relational level. It doesn't happen at a productivity level. It doesn't matter how much you perform. If we look at markers of growth, especially with people that have deeper emotional patterns, I would say one of the main things that stand out is you can feel emotion and not be overwhelmed or not avoid them. So maybe you can be sad and to stay present with yourself. Another one is when you stop organizing your life around preventing discomfort. It's interesting because I would have never done something like this in the past because of deep emotional patterns, right? Where I was afraid to be seen, afraid to be judged. So this is kind of like one example as to how personal development can be a game changer. You finally start to be able to do what's aligned with your values and your interests versus having to always focus on avoiding discomfort. So I think that's a big one. Another one is your relationships start to change. You start to be able to set boundaries. You start to be able to speak more honestly, and you start to be able to tolerate disagreement. I think that's a big one. Because again, this is because your attachment system is less activated. That's not something that we can just shut off here. It's all about the nervous system. Another big one is you become more authentic with yourself and you don't feel the need to be perfect or to impress people, right? You allow yourself to be seen in maybe less polished ways, right? Another one is when your triggers become less intense, right? You still feel, but you don't feel as emotionally triggered.